Hello everybody, welcome back to another video by DissociaDID. Today we're going to be talking about grounding and different grounding techniques. Now we've made a video on grounding before. I think that was quite some time back. That might even have been as far back as 2018 or 2019 about grounding and different grounding techniques, but as we have got older we have learned some new ones and we've been receiving requests for an updated video. Before we get into that though, I'd just like to remind you about our Crowd Justice fundraiser. This is a fundraiser to help us get the money we need to afford legal representation to finish our intellectual property case and our harassment case. All the money goes directly to Crowd Justice, who then send it directly to our lawyers, which means that we don't touch any of it and it can only ever be used for legal costs. The link is in the description. It is www.crowdjustice.com/case/dissociative. Please continue to share and donate. It really does make a world of difference and we need your help in order to keep going forward. That aside, let's get into the video. Let's start off with some basics first of all. What are the first things that we reach for when we start to dissociate? If you've ever seen one of our streams on the system stream over on Twitch where we play games and chat and hang out, we have an emoji and you will often see people commenting hydration check. This is how we tend to kind of keep ourselves as grounded as possible in a very, very easy way, and it literally is just drinking water. Not only does keeping hydrated keep your brain firing the way it should be, it's giving your body everything you need to be able to think as clearly as possible, also the coldness of the water, if you can have it cold that's better, or the taste in the water, so for example maybe you put some lemon in there. Hi gorgeous! Serafina agrees it's very important. Even just the feeling of swallowing something or feeling something cool going down your throat or into your mouth, it can all help ground you and bring you back to the present. Can I help you, miss? Another thing that's grounding is pets. One of the reasons that we got Serafina was to be an emotional support animal for us, and she has been wonderful. She's definitely not something you can ignore, not that we would want to, even if we could. She's a ragdoll, so she has got very, very soft, fluffy fur. And they're called ragdoll cats because if you pick them up, they go floppy, like a ragdoll. I'm going to use cats as an example here, but cats have sandpaper-like tongue, so if she were to come up and lick us, we'd be able to feel that sensation a lot firmer than if we were just touching our own arm, for example, because the texture is so different. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. What's up? The meowing, adorable, also will get our attention. She can usually tell when we're starting to dissociate or if we're having a bad time. When that does happen, she will usually come over and either start pawing at us or she will lay on our arm. That feeling, that pressure, that weight is very, very grounding. The feeling of her whiskers on our face is kind of ticklish, and sometimes actually lighter sensations does more to ground us than rough, hard sensations. The feeling of her fur versus the wetness of her tongue if she was licking the back of our hand or something like that is all very, very grounding. Cats and dogs also sometimes scratch or knead at you. I know that dogs tend to paw at you. Animals really have done a lot for us to stay grounded and aware of where we are in the world, have a reason to get up in the morning. We need to feed the guinea pigs, we need to clean their cage, we need to feed Serafina. She's hungry, we need to clean out the litter box. You know, it's... I do love you very much. If you can't find a reason for you to get up in the morning for yourself, you can do it for your animals. So continuing along that theme, different pressures and textures can be very helpful. If you have something that you'd like to carry around with you that is an interesting texture, whether that be some kind of fidget toy or a particularly interesting feeling piece of cloth, rubbing that, feeling it, pressing it over your skin, especially over your arms, I find for us helps. It does help bring that sensation back to the forefront of your mind. It's very easy when you're dissociating to slip into this sort of foggy, warm waves. Hi! If you're in a room that you're unfamiliar with or you're feeling very derealized and depersonalized, sometimes it can help to get up and actually touch the walls or walk around and feel the different textures of the things around you. So let's say you're in a hotel room, walking around, running your hand along the walls, the headboard, the feeling of the tile in the bathrooms. All of those things can be helpful. Different temperatures, what is cold, what is hot, how hot are you? Have you been able to register where your body temperature is sitting at? Are you able to regulate your body temperature right now? If you're feeling dizzy or lightheaded, you might be too hot. Have you had any sugar? Do you need to check your sugar levels? Cool things like ice and cold water. As I've said, if you're not going to drink it, maybe running some cold water over your hands and feeling that and the temperature can also help be a little bit of a shock to your system. Not really, really cold water, but enough so that you can feel the difference and be a bit like, oh, or for example, a mint. Here is a mint packet, for example. We always carry these around with us, some kind of mints, and then it's really easy. Nobody's going to think anything of it. Just eat a mint, man. Some ASMR. Yeah. Because you can feel that. Not only is the taste strong mints like, for example, Smints. This isn't sponsored by Smint, we just like them. It makes your whole mouth cold. And when you breathe out, you can feel the coldness coming in and out of your throat and your mouth. And that's very grounding because it brings your attention to it. Somebody just got close. Also be aware of things that you're using to ground might be positive triggers for other people, whether or not you are aware of that. That's another thing actually for grounding if you are a DID system or an OSDD system. If you are a DID system or an OSDD system especially, this would be a good time for me to use some grounding techniques actually. I've just picked up something that feels interesting. This is sort of a smooth, plasticky feeling bag. It's got sharp edges on it, so I can run my hand along the edge of it and I can feel that, and that feels weird. The sound, the crinkling sound, it's very grounding, interesting to listen to. We have candles. We almost always have a candle around, whether it's on or not. Just smelling a candle. Scent can be extremely grounding, especially if it's one that you've worked with before to practice your grounding skills. For example, play a certain music when you meditate, or smell a certain smell, whether that be the smell of lavender, and you focus really hard every time you smell that smell or every time you listen to that song on calm, safe, present. Then when you do that enough times, your brain will start to associate that smell or that sound with the feeling of being calm and relaxed. And that can be very useful in situations when you're very anxious. You need to ground, you need to calm down. This can also be done with tapping. Pick a specific part of your body. We did our outer thigh when we were first taught about this, because we can tap that when we're walking along the street without anybody thinking anything weird, just as you walk. Pick a very specific spot and practice with that as well. Every time you tap that spot, every time you feel sensation in that spot, just think, calm, I know where I am, I'm safe, powerful. Pick your affirmations and go with it. This isn't going to work for everybody. It can work. It works for some of our system and not for others, which is kind of weird. It doesn't work for me, but it works really well, for example, for Sally. Any advice that we share is only advice that's been picked up by us or through courses that we've taken or therapy sessions that we've had and certificates that we've gotten and things like that in the past, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work really great for everybody. So with anything that we share, whether it be to do with grounding or processing or reaching out to your system or dealing with PTSD, take it slowly. It can be easy to get flooded by things if you aren't prepared. If you start to feel uncomfortable or strange and it just starts to feel wrong, stop. You don't have to follow our advice, and if it feels wrong, stop. You might not be ready for it, and that's okay. Take it slowly, one step at a time. So, things to note: taste, sound, smell, touch, anything to do with your senses, any of your senses, and regulating that, activating that. If you have littles, or you are an age regressor, or you are younger, or maybe if you're just trying to get in touch with your inner child, you can always bring around small, soft toys or something to squeeze. It doesn't have to be related to childhood things. You don't have to be a DID or OSDD system with little alters. You don't even have to be somebody who age regresses, whether that's just trauma or choice or anything like that. You can bring around small little toys. I'll show you what one of our littles brought with us to court, actually. We had a little toy that we had under the desk, and it was just a little toy, one of the ones that they'd chosen at Comic-Con, because we'd given some of our littles a little bag of money, and it was like, you have £15 each that you can spend if you come out if you want to, and that's your limit. And naturally, one of our littles went more than double over that on a toy that she really liked, but it's okay. The other little that I'm thinking of who bought the specific toy that we did bring was very good, very well behaved. She stuck to that one toy, which was just under her budget, and we brought that around with us, and it was helpful to have something to squeeze. So if you have a stress ball or something like that, go with it. Our personal favourite grounding toy at the minute, or grounding object, grounding device, whatever you want to call it, is actually slime. And we were never into it when it was like a big thing a couple of years ago, or maybe it was longer than a couple of years ago now. Time has no meaning. I don't understand. So we never really tried it before, but a couple of years ago we were in a shop called Tiger, and they just sell loads of really random stuff for pretty much nothing. And there was this little pot of like, I think it was called a slime, but it was like little polystyrene beads and literally just glue and food colouring, and it was a mess and it got everywhere, but the sensation of it was really grounding, and we got really into it and got really pulled into it, and our littles seemed to really enjoy it, and it was a great way to be mindful and present while doing something that was also extremely calming. It's been really, really helpful, because the slime that we've got is not a messy slime. It's not a sticky, stringy, hard to pick up slime. It's more of like a fluffy bread dough textured slime, and there's lots of different ways you can play with it. So you can like wrap it around your arm, let it drop, poke it, squeeze it, make bubble pop noises out of it. It has little charms in it, so when you're squeezing it or playing with it or doing whatever, you can feel occasionally little charms that will be a different texture. Again, very interesting, always a different experience when you're playing with it. It's not the same over and over again. It will keep you focused on what you're doing because it is different every time, but it's also calming and repetitive enough to be very relaxing. The ones that we have also do have a very strong smell. So the one where we were like, wow, okay, this is great. It had a smell that was kind of like a vanilla toffee type smell, and it wasn't strong enough to be overwhelming, but it was strong enough that wherever it touched our skin, it left that smell behind. And even the morning after, when we woke up, we could still smell that vanilla on our skin. After we'd been playing with it, any time that we'd, for example, reach up and brush our hair or something out of the way, we could smell the scent of vanilla come back again. It was just really good. So if you haven't tried that, try a bit of everything. It might be the weirdest stuff that you find that works for you. Another piece of advice that we used in court was a grounding bracelet. So it was a bracelet made of lava beads, and you can put essential oils onto the lava beads, and they're porous. It's porous rock that absorbs that scent and will slowly release it over time. So again, anytime brush your hair away or something like that, you can do it very subtly, turn your head like you're brushing your hair and have a little breathe, and you can smell the strong essential oils. If you're using citrus scents, especially like lemon, orange, lemongrass, that kind of smell is very good for shocking your system awake. Eucalyptus, all very good for sharp scents, grounding. If you're looking for things that are going to calm you down, go for softer, woodier scents or smells like lavender. You can get necklaces as well that do a similar thing, where it might have a bit of sort of foam, and you put the essential oil on the foam inside the locket necklace, and it'll be the same thing. Anytime you need it, you can rub the necklace and then the smell will be on your hand, or you can bring this necklace up to your face and smell it whenever you need it. Things like that are really subtle and very, very useful. Something you also might notice that we do is play with our hair a lot and feel the sensation of our hair, because not only can we feel it on our hands, the feeling of what our hair feels like, but also the gentle movement against wherever else it's touching. So our neck, our arms, our shoulder, our face, and then the gentle pressure on the scalp. The more you can feel involved in the world around you and the things that are external to your body interacting with you yourself, the easier it will be to ground. We plait our hair a lot as well, because again, it is movement of the whole arm, as well as the feelings and the sensations of touching the hair. You'll need to, for example, move everything around a little bit. You have to comb through it. You'll be aware, are there any knots in my hair? You need to focus on the pattern of the braiding, and also whatever else is going on around you as well. That's a great way to ground. It doesn't have to be really complicated. You don't have to go out and buy things. Anything that will bring your attention to what you are feeling, doing, or where you are in the world and where your body is in your environment right now can be a way to ground. If you need to write about your feelings, writing about your feelings can be a great way to ground. And you don't have to go into it deep. You can even just be like, I feel really dissociated right now. Try and describe that feeling, and then think about the way it feels to either type on your phone, if you're writing it out on your phone, or holding the pen, the feeling of the paper. What does the paper smell like? What noises is it making when you're interacting with these things? Does the phone have vibration feedback when you're typing? Does the pen make a noise when it touches the paper? Does your wrist rubbing along the paper as you move the pen make a noise? Can you feel it? You can also get people to squeeze your hands if you are with other people, or maybe gently run their nails along your skin or something like that. Give you a hug. You're really wanting that sensory input. When we are overwhelmed by emotion and we need to calm down, the best way that we've found that's also a productive way is to actually video it. And we don't video it to share with you. Sometimes we'll share it with a therapist. A lot of the time other system members will see it. And sometimes it's really good to look back on a couple of years in the future and be like, oh my God, now I know why this ulcer was feeling like that. I can now pinpoint that this was the beginning of, for example, this ulcer forming, or this memory starting to resurface, or this was direct fallout from us dissociating from or pushing down the reality that this was happening. It's very useful to speak it out loud. It feels like a way of physically getting it out of your body, breathing it out, saying it, processing it. If you're saying it out loud, it gives your brain and your body a way to start working with the feelings that you're having. You're allowed to cry, you're allowed to feel it. It is normal. Everybody does that. Even if you're not mentally ill, it is normal to process your feelings. It is normal to cry. It is normal to need to be grounded every now and again. That's why people do have habits like biting their nails, or biting their lips, or playing with their hair, or scratching or rubbing at certain parts of their body, playing with buckles or belts and stuff like that. You don't need to be mentally ill to do that stuff. Everybody grounds. It is not a trait that is specific or exclusive to neurotypical people. You just need to be a little bit more aware of how these techniques can be utilized to help you. It took us a long time, even though we were aware of all these techniques, to actually start bloody using them. Instead of just being like, yeah, I'm dissociating, to actually flip that switch in our brain and be like, I'm dissociating. I need to ground. Go looking for something to ground with. Having different grounding items in boxes and easy to reach places in different areas of the house. Always carrying some kind of grounding item either in a bag or a coat or a purse, or having a piece of jewellery on us, so that even if you're in a rush and you're rushing out the door, you've always got something in your bag or your pocket or on your person. And even if you don't have all that stuff, once you know the techniques, you don't need external items to be able to ground. And once you get to that point and it becomes second nature, you're going to be able to start coping and dealing with and processing stuff that would otherwise be made so much more difficult because you have the techniques to handle it. I don't know, that's something to be proud of. Just accepting the fact that you might need to use these techniques can be difficult, but everybody uses them. The thing is that most people don't even know that they're techniques. They just do it on autopilot. Even if it feels like you're not, you're perfectly capable of doing this, even if it takes you a while at first. I hope that was helpful. If you have other questions, please let us know. If you have any videos that you want us to make, or things that you want us to cover, or things that you want us to go over again that we might have made a couple of years ago that we may now have a completely different opinion on, because we've had to learn a heck of a lot in the last couple of years. Everything that's happened to us has changed us completely from the inside out. Our views and approaches to things are different now. Not just because a lot of us and our system is different, but because we had to learn more and we had to learn fast. That doesn't mean we know everything, or that what we've learned is the right way or the only way to do things. But I hope that by sharing it, it can help some people. And that's the only reason that we share this stuff. If it doesn't work for you, that is fine. There are so many other things out there. We will share as much as we can in as gentle and validating a way as we can, because that's what we want to do. That's what we choose to do. It's up to you what you do with that information. We're just making it available if you choose to try it. And if it works for you, fantastic. If it doesn't, that doesn't mean you're a lost cause. And that doesn't mean that there aren't other things that will work for you, because there are. You are going to be fine. So just before I say goodbye, I just want to throw in a quick reminder again about our Crowd Justice fundraiser. Please do go check out the link at the bottom in the description and share it. If you can't donate, talk about it, make sure people are aware of what's going on and help us get our justice. We are so lucky to be in a position where we can ask for help, because other people don't have platforms like this to be able to ask for help, and we do, and we are fully aware of just how lucky that makes us. So thank you. I hope that everybody's taking care of themselves, and we will see you in the next video. Lots of love, everybody. Bye.